A while back, as I detailed my contingency for Goliath, the leader of the remaining gargoyles, I expressed my desire to form an alliance with him, my hope being that perhaps they could aid me in keeping Gotham safe in return for a home for themselves and other protections for them during the day. It took a bit before I approached them, not because of any fear or such, as so long as I showed no hostility, I didn't need to fear any in return. But rather, I needed to wait for a moment for when Goliath was alone, allowing me to speak with him on a one-on-one basis. When I approached him, he was, to no surprise to me, reading from within a closed library, sitting at a desk alone and reading with the help of a candlelight. When I spoke up, breaking out from within the shadows of the night. Understandably, Goliath was placed on guard, though. As cool-headed as always, he took one good look of me before realizing who I was. It seems that of his readings he'd learned of the Batman of Gotham, and questioned why I would be so far from my own territory. I asked if I could sit down and speak with him. He seemed hesitant at first, but acquiesced after a moment of silence. I was frank with him, told him that I knew not only of him, but of his remaining people, but I also made it clear that I was no threat to him. He was cautious of me, but he recognized what I've done and was willing to listen to what I had to say. I told him of my plan and that I would procure everything they'd need, not just for the move, but also to maintain their safety. He was silent as I explained, and would remain so for several minutes. He never blinked, and while he was staring in my direction, I don't believe he was looking at me. I'd seen that stare before, many times to be exact. He was looking through me, likely reliving every moment he'd had with humans in the past. It would be an understatement to say that his experience with them has been negative at best. But there were still those who had remained by their side since their return in our modern world. After a while, he'd speak up once more, and unfortunately, he would decline my offer. I asked for a reason, and he would point directly at my mask. Quote, "Even the humans who have stabbed us in the back would show us their true face, even their names. But you come to me knowing all of us but refuse to show all of yourself. And yet you ask me to place not just my trust, but also lives of my friends in your hands." End quote. He'd stand from the table, reaffirming his stance before beginning to walk away. I only had a few seconds before my window would be closed, maybe forever. He was right. The playing field was uneven in my favor, and I'd given him no reason to trust me. And in the end, I made my choice. I removed my mask and told him my true name. He'd stopped and turned back to me, staring at me for a few moments before returning to the table and sitting down once more. Fortunately, he was aware of what the other side of me has done as well, so convincing him of my intent was easier the second time around. But he still had some concerns, as the danger of Gotham is very well known, and asked me how I could promise the safety of his friends. In truth, there was no promise. I may take great care in my approaches, but I also know that when it comes to heroism, there is no way to ensure absolute safety, as I will always put my own life at risk to help protect others. Goliath seemed to like this answer and gave me a compromise. He would place a single member of his team in my care for a trial run. More specifically, he would be sending Brooklyn, his second in command. He would join my team for a month, and only after he reported back with his thoughts would Goliath make his final decision. I accepted the terms, and as there would only be one of them, Brooklyn will be spending his days within the Batcave for added security. From what I know of him, Brooklyn also seems to have a fondness of motor vehicles. Call it bribery if you wish, but I'm sure I can give him a bike of his own while he's there. I can't predict how this will go. I can only show my dedication for protecting Gotham, as well as avoid taking any unnecessary risks when it comes to Brooklyn. But I will also take this time to observe Brooklyn as well, as he was once someone who had no misgivings for his contempt for humans. I need to make sure that his actions also reflect the actions I would see from the other gargoyles as well. I'll need to make another follow-up, but for now, I'll I'll have to take this one day at a time.